Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, today's finally the day we're going to get Ruby onto the rotisserie. Fingers crossed. Now, some of you may know that I actually built this rotisserie from scratch. I did a video on it. I've never had a car on it, and I've never tested it. I've only worked on a car once that was on a rotisserie. I was helping a guy out. I never put a car on a rotisserie, never even rolled it or anything. We just kind of worked on it a little bit, and I was just helping a friend out. So it's going to be all new for me today. This has never been tested. So if this is a short video, it went really well. If it's a long video, it didn't go so good. So let's do a quick walk around of the car, kind of talk about what we need to consider while we're putting this on, and then just bolt it up and try to lift it off the body rack. Okay, so these arms right here may seem a little long, but it actually has to reach in almost a foot from the edge here. So, and I've seen some rotisseries where the mast right here was really close to the back of the car, the front of the car, so you couldn't even work in there. So I made them a little bit longer. I'm not worried about them breaking or anything, but it may put a little twist on it. If they're too long, we can always shorten them later. I could have made them adjustable, but I just welded them on to these parts that slide back and forth. So where it's going to mount in the back is the farthest, rearest chassis mount to body, and it's a little bit higher than the ones in the front we're going to use. So it's about 3 inches higher. So we had to adjust it right here so we can get get the car basically sitting level, basically, and that way it doesn't bind right here on the pivot points. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it's going to be some trial and error to kind of get that the right height. I'm going to do some preliminary measurements. I already did a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure if I got them close. So until we get it up there, I won't know for sure. So then we're going to mount it out here to the outermost body mount out here, and we'll just adjust that out, move it over. It shouldn't be no big deal, and then just kind of get them, the right height. So I just have them on these rollers right here. I got some perforated square tubing right there that will actually slide inside this one and been pinned, and then slide inside the other one. I have no idea what that length is. I don't know if the tubing I have is long enough. So we're just going to figure this out as we go, and then just play it by ear. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this back one up first, and kind of figure out where we're at, and then start bolting that onto the body right there. All right, I went ahead and put a jack underneath the body cart and raised up the car till it was level at the door sill. I think that's probably the best way of doing it, to make sure both of these are, it's level, we're hitting the same spot. So what I'll try to do is we'll get the back on. We're going to slide it up till the center stays even with the keyhole for the trunk, so we know that's the center line. And then we'll just kind of maybe just raise it up till it's touching, get the bolts in, and then we'll slide the tube in or figure that out, and then we'll go to the front, kind of do the same thing. And I think it's just going to be trial and error to see if this thing's lifting evenly, if it's going to pivot at the same spot, that kind of stuff. So really getting the balance right, so it's not heavy on one side or the other, I think is a key. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide this in and get these adjusted over and get them bolted up. Taking a quick measurement here to see, and we're not quite centered up, so I need to slide the whole thing over a little bit. Okay, that's just about got it. There's a couple of locking bolts underneath here to keep these from sliding. Just going to bump these snug them up. Like I said, I have no idea. I've never done this before, so it can't be that hard, but I want to take it slow, make sure I don't screw up. Okay, that's all snugged up. Those are snugged up onto the body. I didn't tighten them up super tight yet. We're gonna just kind of get this together first, and then then go around and tighten everything up when we know it's in the right spot, or hopefully in the right spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that perforated tube up underneath, and kind of figure out about how long that needs to be, see if I need to cut it or lengthen it or whatever, and then we can get to work on the front one. Okay, we got the back all tightened up, good to go, and it's actually holding up the back of the car, so I pulled the jack out and I raised it up till it was level at the door sill again. And the measurement from the center of this shaft right here to the ground is 39 inches. So to make sure the car, when it rolls one way or the other or all the way around, it's on the same perfect plane, we need to adjust the other one to 39 inches, I believe. That way, otherwise, if it wasn't, then one part of the car will go up and down and kind of bind that area right there. So what we need to do is jack that up a few inches till it's 39 inches, and then adjust this portion till it meets right there. But it's actually looking like it's going to be pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and pump on this thing a little bit, and we'll see if we can get this to the right height. I do have the perforated tube in down there. So I just got a drift in there right now, holding it. The other one's bolted. So we're looking pretty good there, I think, on length. I didn't think of that when I did this. So hopefully these holes line up without me having to re-drill them. All right, we got everything bolted up. Didn't have to re-drill any holes. The perforated tube and those holes, everything lined up. So everything's tight and we're looking good. I've got it jacked up till the center of the pivot is 39 inches off the ground. So it should be sitting just about right. We do have one little problem, and I think I brought it up when I built this thing. So I wasn't sure if that perforated tube would keep these vertical. Once you put weight on it, they try to lean over. Of course, that goes down, and then that brace or connecting tube basically is bowing in the middle. So I've got a 4x4 block on each side to hold that up. So what we're going to need to do, and I think I discussed this when I was building this thing, is put a caster on each side of that. Have them come up a little bit so they'll swivel big enough to roll over stuff and strong enough to hold the weight. I mean, really, the car doesn't weigh that much when you divide it all up from one end to the other. So I think I need to run out, pick up some casters real quick. But what I want to do right now is jack this thing up and get the cart up off the ground a little bit, and then release the pivots and just see if it'll, rock back and forth just a little bit. We're not going to get crazy. We're just going to raise it up, maybe 3 inches off the ground, put the pin in over here on each end, and then release each end and just see if it'll rock back and forth. Okay, both rotating pins are released. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, that worked. It rolled pretty easy. Not bad. All right, well, that feels pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Considering all the work I put in to build the rotisserie, it would have sucked if it didn't work. Locks right in. So I think we need to go ahead and I'm going to run out and get some casters, and we're going to build some sort of yoke and put a wheel on each side of that front leg. Any caster that will fit underneath will have a little tiny wheel. I think it'll just catch on everything when I'm trying to roll this thing. So probably try to at least get a 4-inch wheel or something, but let me run out and get that. So far so good. I'm just gonna have to fabricate something. Kind of thought I might need to anyway, so I'll do that. I'll bring you right back. Okay, I went ahead and picked up 4 of these 4-inch swivel casters from Harbor Freight. They have like a 300-pound or 330-pound capacity each, which was more than enough. I cut some 6-inch, inch-and-a-half square tubing, 120 wall, and you guys saw me just now welding a cap on the end. If I don't weld that cap on now, it's never going to happen. So I went ahead and took the time and did it right now. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and weld these 4-inch casters right on here. And then I'll crawl up underneath the car here and just weld this on to the side of that one leg sticking out. I don't want to pull this whole thing out just to get these wheels on here, so we're going to just go ahead and do it right in place. So give me a minute to go ahead and get these all welded on, and then we can go ahead and get these welded on those legs, and then we should be pretty good, I think. Okay, so we got them all clamped up. Since we're doing this in situ, it's a little more difficult, but I think I got them leveled out and pretty much straight. So what I did was I jacked that leg up until this mast was vertical, or actually just a little past vertical, because I know once I release it, it'll settle. That way, this all stays kind of perpendicular to each other, and those are kind of preloaded. So I'm just going to crawl up in there, get them tacked, get the clamps out of the way, get it welded up. Okay, all we gotta do is the back, and we can test this thing out. Okay, got all the welding done, came out pretty good for welding it in place. So everything's sitting just right. I went ahead and jacked it back up. The pins are at the same height, the front and back, and the car is level. So we did get this adjustment correct, so that's good. So really all that's left to do, I think I'm gonna lower it back down, unbolt the cart, get the cart out of there, and then I think maybe I need to vacuum out of the inside. There's a lot of crap in there before we try to rotate this thing. Like I said, I don't think I want to flip it upside down, but I'm going to try to get it up and rotate it 90 degrees. My ceiling height isn't so high here, so I'm not too sure how this is going to work out, but we'll give it our best shot. All right, guys, I probably shouldn't be trying this for the first time by myself, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. So I don't think it's high enough for these arms to clear the lower leg. So what we're going to do is just try to rotate it a little bit. I've got the pin in the back released, so all I have to do is release this one. And I'm just going to grab it from the side to see if we're semi-balanced. I don't want it to get away from me. So cross your fingers. Doesn't feel like it wants to flop over, so that's a good thing. So far, so good. There we go. Well, it definitely needs to go higher to get it to rotate a full 90 degrees. And I don't think I can do it by myself. I kind of need somebody to work the pins while I, rotate it around. So, but success didn't fall over, didn't drop it. So let's take a quick look, tour of it, and we're gonna wrap this one up, call it good. Next time you see this thing, hopefully it'll be at a 90 degree. I'll get Dave over here or somebody, give me a little bit of a hand, but it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy. All right, everything's looking good back here. Kind of weird seeing Ruby up like this, but that's what we need to do. Now, once we get it up on 90 degree, we'll be able to take a really good look at the underside, but this is the first time I've seen it in this position anyways. And you can see they got it pretty darn clean up underneath there. Little rust right there. There was an air pocket right there when it was in the phosphoric acid. But we're looking really good. This is going to make it a lot easier to do all the repairs underneath. We've got a lot of holes to fill, a lot of other repairs to do, some modifications. Of course, the transmission tunnel needs work. So this is going to be really nice to get this up on its side, just stand there and do the work. So that's going to be really cool. And it's going to take a little getting used to. You know, never used a rotisserie before. This is brand new for me, guys. Just you guys are watching it right now. So I think it's just going to get a little bit for me to get comfortable with it, knowing that, you know, it's safe and it's not going to fall, you know, that kind of stuff, like anything new. But we are sitting pretty low to the ground here, so obviously we need to, you know, level this out, jack it a lot higher, and then rotate it. But, and I'm not sure if I can do it with the head height I have here, so we may need to level it out, roll it outside, put it over on its side at 90, and then roll it back in. I'm quite sure once we get it up, then we can lower it back down and it'll fit. But I'm really happy. It's working out really nice. Okay, guys, that pretty much wraps up this kind of nerve-wracking day, but really happy with the outcome. It's going to be a lot of fun working on the car this way instead of laying on my back underneath. That's no fun for sure. But it's all seemed to be working out really good. Like I said, I'll get Dave over here and we'll kind of experiment with this thing a little bit with two guys. It'll be a lot safer and a lot easier. And then we can see what it'll really do. It's going up and down on the mast, no problem. Just put some white grease on here, scraping some of the paint off, no big deal. But I'm really happy the way it turned out. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.